Alright, so as of Wednesday, November 25th, 2020, we have a new Minecraft 1.17 snapshot. Snapshot 20W48A. Now, this snapshot isn't quite as big as the previous two, but hopefully that means the devs are taking their sweet time in order to make caves and cliffs as good as it can possibly be. That being said, there are still a lot of cool new features in this snapshot, from new blocks to texture changes, so in this video we're going to be doing a quick overview of everything and testing some of the new stuff out. Let's get to it. The two major features of the snapshot are dripstone blocks and pointed dripstone. They don't generate naturally yet, so you can only access them from the creative menu. But once world generation snapshots come out, you'll be able to find them in the Dripstone Caves biome. Dripstone blocks don't really have any practical uses right now aside from being a building block. To be honest, I don't think the block looks that good, but after a little experimentation, I think I found a few decent uses for it. It looks kinda nice combined with the light gray terracotta, and I also think it could look good as tree bark, believe it or not. You can mine it with just a wooden pickaxe, and that's really all there is to say about it. Now, pointed dripstone, that's where things get interesting. You can attach them to the ceiling and stack them, making a stalactite, or attach them to the floor and stack them up, making a stalagmite. We've had a lot of amateur spelunkers in the comments of our previous videos come up with some good tips to remember which is which, but I like to remember that tight and top both start with T, so stalactites hang from the top of the cave. You can break pointed dripstone with your bare hands, or even by throwing a trident at it, but the fastest and easiest way is probably with a pickaxe. If you break the block a stalagmite is on top of, it'll also break, dropping itself as an item. Now, pointed dripstone is pretty cool, but it's also sharp and dangerous. Kids, don't try anything you're about to see at home. If you break the block a stalactite is hanging from, it'll fall, damaging anyone or anything in its path and dropping itself as an item. And if you're unlucky enough to fall on top of one of these stalagmites, it could also be fatal. Let's experiment with this a little bit. So, the first thing I'm wondering is, will a stalactite falling from a higher height do more damage? These two chickens have generously volunteered to be our test subjects. So first we'll try dropping a stalactite from a shorter height onto this chicken. As you can see, it did some damage, but nothing fatal. Now we're going to try releasing the stalactite from a very high height onto this chicken, and if the damage is higher from a higher height, the chicken will probably die. So let's try it out. There you have it. That chicken was absolutely pulverized. So as you can see, the height that a stalactite is dropped from definitely does increase the damage. But I'm also wondering, will a bigger stalactite do more damage? Okay, so now as you can see, we have these two cows who have nicely volunteered to be test subjects. Here I have a small stalactite, which I've placed at the highest possible height where the fall won't kill the cow, as you can see. So it does some damage, but doesn't kill it. And if a larger stalactite will end up killing the cow, this larger stalactite will surely kill it. So we'll see. If this doesn't kill the cow, then we'll know that the size of the stalactite doesn't affect the amount of damage. So here we go. Sorry, cow. Very interesting. So it seems that the size of the stalactite likely does not affect if the cow will be killed. So that's very interesting. So I was looking at the Minecraft wiki, and it says that larger stalactites actually do increase damage, so I was confused as to why we didn't get the same results in our experiment. Turns out it's because of a little something called damage immunity. You know in Mario how your character becomes invincible for a couple seconds after taking damage? It's the same concept here. When a mob takes damage and turns red, there's a short half-second window where it can't take any more damage. What happened was that the bottom piece of stalactite hit the cow, and then all the other pieces hit the cow during that half second of damage immunity and didn't register. Finally, I'm wondering about what happens when you fall onto a stalagmite. Luckily, I've been able to consult the Minecraft wiki for this, so our test subjects will live to see another day. You're free. Go. Go, leave. The damage you get from falling on a stalagmite is equal to 4 times the normal damage you'd get from falling from that height. It's not going to do constant damage like, say, a magma block would, but it will be helpful for killing mobs in farms or damaging them enough that they can be killed for XP with just one punch. Pointed dripstones make great teeth. Their yellowish-brownish color makes them perfect for a fossilized skull, or use their jagged, sharp edges to make a creepy mouth. Okay, one final thing about pointed dripstone. When hanging from the ceiling, they drip water, and if they have a water source above them, they'll actually slowly fill up a cauldron. But here's the best part. Okay, lava buckets are without question Minecraft's greatest fuel source. Just one bucket can smelt 100 items. The only issue was that getting the lava usually required either a trip to the nether or a search for a lava pool, either of which could sometimes end in disaster. Not that I would know anything about that. Anyway, lava buckets aren't stackable either, which overall made them a pain in the butt to get. But now, if you place a lava source above a stalactite and put a cauldron underneath to collect the drippings, you can get as much lava as you want. Sure, it'll take a while to fill up, but we now have infinite access to Minecraft's best fuel source, which is pretty awesome. Those are pretty much all the major features of the snapshot, but there are a few minor additions we should mention. Right-clicking a bundle in your inventory will now remove one item from the bundle, and using one will dump out everything in it. Also, if you turn on advanced tooltips, you can now see exactly how full your bundle is, which will be much easier than having to count out every single item. Candles now need a solid surface in order to be placed. It doesn't necessarily have to be a solid block, but they can't just float in midair anymore. Now, only one piece of leather armor is needed to prevent freezing damage, rather than a full set. And I just want to say, I really love how Mojang has shaken up the traditional armor progression lately. It used to be players would just get a full set of diamond armor and be done with it. Now, players might have a golden helmet to ward off piglins, an elytra for flying, netherite leggings, and leather boots to stay warm. Before the last few updates, most players never wore gold or leather armor at any stage of the game, but now players are forced to think about the strengths and trade-offs of each piece. Anyway, speaking of freeze damage, the freeze damage command now lets you turn off freeze damage, which will be helpful for map makers or just creative mode players who don't want the annoying freeze animation on the screen. Finally, we have a few small texture changes for amethyst, compasses, clocks, and candles. The spyglass also appears a little more natural and three-dimensional when viewed from third person. Alright, that's just about it for this video. I hope some of the information was helpful, and I hope that you're as excited about the Caves and Cliffs update as we are. Bye for now, and we'll see you in the next snapshot.